Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn. I'm Thomas the Human Bard.
Why do you keep leaving and coming back in?
I keep walking out the door, and then I come at the bell rings, the ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and then I come in again. I have to get my entrance. I am joined today by...
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
Yes, and we are going over the new Unearthed Arcana that just dropped. That's a huge adjustment to a bunch of class abilities and features in the player's handbook. In this episode, we're going to talk about what they did to the bard. Mm-hmm. All right, I happen to be a bard, so I wanted to talk about this. There isn't a ton here. I'll be real with you. There's some good stuff. It's mostly just some like versatility stuff about an expanded spell list and being able to change some of your spells around. Not the biggest adjustments being made to the classes in the document.
Mm-hmm. But this is our first spell casting class of the adjustments, and it's kind of a portent of things to come.
For sure. For sure. So we get this expanded spell list, and I've noticed that what I feel like happened is there's a bunch of spells in D&D that for a long time people have just said, wait, why don't I have that? Mm-hmm. And they went through and they went, you know what, you're right. You probably should have that, huh?
You probably should have access to that spell.
Mm-hmm. And so having this expanded spell list, this one doesn't have too many of those. The wizard and the cleric one have some of the most standout, like, wait, they didn't already have that spell? But the bard has a couple of support spells like aid, mass healing word, which... yeah, that is already what the bard wants to be doing. Why didn't it have those kind of abilities?
Well, I think the original idea is that the bard can just steal those with magical secrets. But...
exactly, but the thing is, if every bard steals it with magical secrets, should they maybe just have it, you know?
Yeah.
And then...
yeah, like things like mass healing word. It's like,
yeah.
They didn't have mass healing, but they know healing word. Why wouldn't they know mass healing word?
Definitely. I do. Also stuff. A bunch of these add the Xanathar's Guide spells, and they kind of mix up which classes get access to those and what's going on there. Which, I mean, the Xanathar's Guide spells are great, and I think that they need to be added just into the whole main game by default. The one that I am a little bit, I don't know, not necessarily hesitant on, but surprised by, is they gave bards Prismatic Wall, which is like. Has always been a very like wizard spell.
It's like a very specifically wizard spell.
Yeah, but maybe I guess they were going for because it's like colorful
and bards
are colorful. I don't know, I guess. Maybe they didn't have enough 9th level like weird damaging enchantments or anything, and they were like, oh, that one kind of fits. Mm-hmm. You could maybe flavor it as sort of like a rave. Yeah. Like, instead of being a real prismatic wall, it's just sort of like sections of a rave.
A rave no one can get through, yeah.
There's the moshing section. There's the laser light section, you know. Yeah. But other than that, everything kind of makes sense. Hero's Feast is a really good addition, I think. Yeah. Power Word Pain is a really good addition from Xanathar's Guide. Tiny Servant is the best spell in the game. So, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Magical Inspiration is one of their features that enhances the Bardic Inspiration feature. It says, if a creature has Bardic Inspiration die from you and casts a spell, that creature can roll that die and add the number rolled to 1 damage or healing roll of the spell. The Bardic Inspiration die is then lost.
So this is a very interesting adjustment because it kind of... It expands out the Bardic Inspiration in a very specific way, and that is explicitly in damage or healing, which I think is really interesting because originally the only way you could get that your Bardic Inspiration die can translate to raw damage is with the Valor Bard.
Yep.
Because instead of cutting words, they get... when people have your inspiration, they can use it for attack damage rolls and or to increase their AC and kind of a thing like that. And so this is interesting in that like you could use a bard to charge up a fireball that another that the wizard or the sorcerer are casting, and it's a very interesting thing where it's like this is the only other than of course increasing someone's accuracy for an attack kind of a thing. But this is the only way that the number on the dice can translate to raw damage. kind of a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is, like, you got it there with Fireball. I think that the reason for that is because with spellcasters, you give them Bardic Inspiration. You're like, hey, use this on your next targeted attack roll. And then they never cast a targeting attack roll. They just cast a couple of, like, area of effect spells or, like, a pass save spell.
Mm-hmm. And then it's those kind of people never had need of Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah. So, like, what are they going to do with it? So they just kind of keep it in their pocket for a while. But I think this lets them now use it. They have a reason to ask for the Bardic Inspiration because they're like, yeah, when I cast Fireball, I'll get, not a ton, but, like, a little bit.
But that's like 6 damage to 4 creatures. That's a lot.
For sure. And then the other option being the healing, obviously, for, like, the cleric in the party or whatever. You say, hey, use this on your next, like, targeted attack. They totally could do that. They could run up and hit somebody with their mace.
Cleric's a little more
but when they want to be doing some support for the party, your inspiration the only thing they could add inspiration on for supporting the party would be rolling a medicine check.
Yeah.
Which, not as good.
And I wonder how this stacks with, I can't remember, but there's, like, an ability that it might be Unearthed Arcana that I'm remembering, but there's, like, an ability that's like, if you would roll to heal, you just use the max dice for it. I think it's like a cleric ability somewhere. I honestly can't remember.
I'm coming up blank on it.
But, like, I wonder how this, and it's kind of the same thing with, like, the Thunder Clerics lightning ability, where it's like they can use their Channel Divinity to do max damage on a lightning or thunder spell. So I wonder how this damage-wise and healing-wise for the other ability that I seem to be either making up or remembering.
I think that based on the wording of it, it does distinguish between the roll of the die and then the healing roll of the spell. Yeah. And those are separate rolls. So anything that would affect the healing roll of the spell wouldn't affect this die, I don't think. Yeah.
So now we come to spell versatility.
Yep. So yeah, anytime you finish a long rest, you can replace a spell you learned from your spellcasting feature with another spell from the Bard's spell list, but it has to be the same level. And then there's a rule tip reminder here. Cantrips are spells. They're just technically level 0 spells.
They're just wussy spells that get so strong.
That seems kind of weird, but also it matters because later on people get cantrip versatility
versus spell versatility. Yeah.
Versus spell versatility, which also includes cantrip versatility, but additional ones as well. This allows a bard to, realize they took a wrong spell and eventually go, wait a minute, I don't think that's actually a worthwhile spell to take.
Yeah,
Let me change that one.
Or it's one of those things where it's like, we're gonna go. It gives them, like, mild spell preparation, which is such an interesting thing.
It bleeds a little bit into being a prepared caster, for sure.
Because you get to go, we're going to be fighting a lot of liches down in that undead cavern. I'm going to prepare counterspell this long rest instead of haste or something, because we need that more than being one person being able to run really fast. I need to be able to respond in real time to the crazy stuff that's going to happen. And it's very interesting. We've run into very similar kind of issues in our campaign.
One of the only really interesting things I do need to point out here is it has to be a spell you learned from your spellcasting feature.
Yeah, this doesn't let you swap out magical secrets.
Even if you want to swap them out with a bard spell, you can't. You're stuck with your magical secrets. You have to keep those ones.
Well, and that's been relatively true with, I think, one exception of the lore bard. The lore bard gets an extra instance of magical secrets at a certain level. Yeah. And they are able to change that specific amount of magical secrets, like the way that it's worded, with other magical secrets, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, they can swap out when they get that second one.
Yeah, but when they get the second and third instance of magical secrets, doesn't have the same wording, so you can't swap out those later ones at all, even in the original rules, kind of a thing.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's a great addition. I think a lot of this Unearthed Arcana overall is about being maybe a little less punishing for early game mistakes, which allows, I think, people to play longer like character arcs where they keep a lower level character and level it up a lot, because a lot of people don't do that when they play D&D. They just start over and over and over again. But when you don't feel as locked in of like, well, I took guards and wards forever ago, but that was a dumb spell, so like why do I even have that spell anymore?
Like, we never stay still long enough for me to use that. Why would I ever use it? But we
never have a house.
And it's interesting because it allows you to and I like the flavor wise that it kind of talked about earlier with the like the skill swap out, where it shows you it showcases that the characters not only just get stronger, and their older spells fall by the wayside. It allows for players to change and adapt to their environments in a way that real people would. Like we literally had we had a discussion the other night, people talking about Game of Thrones, where they were disappointed in the Brienne Arya fight because Brienne was using a claymore to attack someone with a knife like she was fighting someone who had a claymore, you know? And it's like, no, you would adapt to that scenario and fight with a different fighting style, because what you normally do doesn't work in this scenario. And so that's what I love about this. Like, on a long rest, you can go, okay, my normal thing of casting haste on the big boy isn't going to work if he's mind controlled, so I need to swap that out for counterspell or dispel magic so that we can get out of that jam when that inevitably takes place, kind of a thing.
For sure. Yeah. I also like the role-playing possibilities it provides of maybe you started out your career as one kind of a spellcaster but sort of changed over time, and thus, like, I have a character I play who's a pacifist, but if that ever changed, he would probably want to start taking non-pacifist
some more
spells.
combat-oriented spells. Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is like this prevents that from, like, if that character ever stopped being a pacifist, he still wouldn't be able to not be a pacifist under the original rules, because he still just has all these non-damaging spells.
Yeah, he would have to just punch people with his fists. Because he doesn't even have any good.
He doesn't even have a sword, if I remember correctly.
Yes, no, he has a pair of scissors. That if push comes to shove, and if it's like an animal, he might have to fend it off with that. But yeah, that's the Bard. What do you think overall? Is this kind of just new options, or is this a buff, or is this like a nerf to the Bard? What do you think?
This is definitely. I mean, all of these are buffs in their own way.
Yeah, none of this really nerfs any of these characters. Every one of these really ups the power level.
Yeah, even some of the things that I'm more confused by, or like, that doesn't really work the way I would want it to work. Like, this is all still like cool stuff. Yeah, this one, yeah, the Bard doesn't even get any like optional things. Like, this is just like, you take these are all just, you are strictly better at the thing, and you can undo the mistakes of the past, and you have more options to make those mistakes with, kind of a thing. And it once again, the Bard not really having a lot in this package just kind of speaks to the testament of how powerful Bards are in general, which is kind of an interesting statement compared to how Bards have been viewed in the past.
For sure.
Where it's just
No, yeah, I think in 5e, they're doing really well.
Bards are great. Bards are great in 5e. In 3rd and 4th edition, they were kind of viewed as like, yeah, you're the support class that doesn't do anything and tries to sleep with all the antagonists, you know. And it's,
you will notice there is no seduction enhancement ability on
you don't
which
need
is
it.
good.
Don't need it. Bards have always been kind of viewed as these social creatures, and so like the fact that they don't get a social option is easily forgivable. They already have so many of those, and it's already a problem.
Definitely.
But this just speaks to the testament that Bards are already so good that they would only get like mild improvements. Kind of.
Yeah. So far, Barbarians obviously not adjusted too much because they're good. Bards not really adjusted too much because they're pretty good.
And
so I think you and I, we're in pretty good company here.
Yeah.
The Barbarians and Bards, we're doing all right. The rest of the classes, we'll start seeing some more strong adjustments as we move on.
It starts to go, let's just say.
Yeah. All right, that'll wrap up this episode for us. I'm sure we'll have these arranged in a playlist or something, so don't touch that dial. Stay right here for the next episode where we're going to talk about whatever.
Well,
it's next.
touch
Clerics,
the
I
like
guess.
button dial and the subscribe button dial.
No, don't touch any dials.
No, touch the dials. Say yes.
It'll break it.
Click on the bell.
Stop it.
I'm sure it does something.
No one knows what the bell does. Okay, it's an eldritch abomination. Yeah, sure. Like and subscribe if you'd like to. Comment below with what you think about these changes to the bard, and we'll see you next time. Keep on adventuring.